All right, let's talk about this. So the Dallas Mavericks advanced to the NBA Finals as Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic combined for 72 points to close out the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals in Game 5. We're going to talk about this, but before we get into this video, please make sure you hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's DFJ Hoops. Let's get right into this. So the Dallas Mavericks close out the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games in the Western Conference Finals. And me personally, watching this game right here, I think Luka Doncic came out and said to himself that this series is going to end in Minnesota. We're not going back to Dallas for Game 6. We might go back to Dallas, but we're going back to Dallas to pack our stuff to get ready for the NBA Finals in Boston. And he showed that immediately from the jump as he dropped 20 points in the first quarter by himself. He completely outscored the Minnesota Timberwolves in that first quarter, and he did finish this game with 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. He completely outplayed the Minnesota Timberwolves' best players. And Kyrie Irving also did his thing. Kyrie finished with 36 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now, Kyrie Irving, he did cook in that second half. He was cooking a lot in that second half as they close out the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, they did get help from their complementary pieces. PJ Washington chipped in with 12 points, 7 rebounds. Daniel Gafford, he did his thing, 11 points, 9 rebounds. And Derek Lively, who missed the previous game, he missed game 4 because he was suffering from a neck strain. But he came out, he dropped 9 points and 8 rebounds. I think that Derek Lively was he didn't miss a single shot in this series right here. I think he was 16 for 16 in the series, which means his advanced numbers is going to be insane. I think he would probably have a 90 or 80% true shooting percentage and 100% effective field goal percentage as well. So shout out to Derek Lively. I'm absolutely rooting for him to win this championship with the Dallas Mavericks. And let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves for a few minutes here. So Minnesota absolutely they exceeded expectations. Nobody thought Minnesota was going to go to the conference finals. I mean, okay, let me not speak for everyone, but me personally, I didn't pick them to go to the Western Conference Finals, and they absolutely surprised me as they beat Denver in Game 7 in that second round. So they exceeded expectations. This is one of their best seasons in their franchise's history. I think this is the second time they ever made the Western Conference Finals. The first time they got to the Western Conference Finals was in 2004. So 20 years later, they get back there. But it was a great season for them. Shout out to Anthony Edwards. Shout out to Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid. Rudy Gobert was the defensive player of the year. Naz Reid was the sixth man of the year, and they had a good enough team, and hopefully they can just run this back and just make a few adjustments in the offseason in terms of to the roster and come back even stronger and better than they were this year. I think this year they had a little bit of inconsistencies offensively, and it was either Ant-Man or bust in the half court. They didn't really have enough shot creators who could break down the defense and get to their own shot or make a play. Now, no disrespect to Mike Conley. Mike Conley is a veteran, but at this point, I think Mike Conley should be bench player for next year because he's going to be in year 19. He's going to be year 18. So I think they need another point guard, a fast point guard who can shoot the ball, who can make a play, and who can also play defense. So shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Exceeded expectations, at least in my opinion. I didn't pick them to get to the Western Conference Finals, but let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks for a second. So Dallas is in the NBA Finals. So this is probably their first finals in 13 years. The last time they were in the finals, they won. And shout out to everybody on that Dallas team. Shout out to Kyrie, Luka. Shout out to Daniel Gafford, who played his tail off. Shout out to PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., and everybody else. Now, I think these playoffs has proven to me that just because a player's on a bad team does not mean they're trash. And if you put some of these players that are on bad teams, if you put them on championship contending teams, they could definitely give you significant minutes, whether they're starting or coming off the bench. Now, everybody looks at Daniel Gafford, and when he was playing for the Washington Wizards, he was like the laughing stock in the NBA. People didn't really respect him. I remember I was calling him probably the worst center in the NBA because Embiid was giving him like 50 and 3/4, and Anthony Davis was giving him 55 and 17, like crazy numbers like that. And I wasn't really respecting him, but they trade him to the Dallas Mavericks, and now he's in the NBA Finals. So he's giving them some great quality minutes as a starting center for the Dallas Mavericks, and PJ Washington as well. I mean, when he was on the Charlotte Hornets, nobody really respected him, but he's on this Dallas team, giving them everything that he could possibly give them, whether it's shooting threes, playing defense, rebounding. He's doing a little bit of everything for this Dallas unit, and that's all you could ask for. So shout out to this team. And also, last but not least, shout out to Jason Kidd, the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Now, nobody really respected him. People were calling him an overrated coach, and that this team is a Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, your turn, my turn basketball. But it was completely not that. We saw J Kidd make adjustments in this series in terms of how to play against what defensive coverage that Minnesota was throwing out there, whether it's hedging, drop, playing zone, playing man to man. He always came up with an adjustment, and that really helped the Dallas Mavericks get to the NBA Finals. So shout out to this team. I'm rooting for this team to win. Last video, I said that they have to get this series over with so they can get enough time and enough rest for the NBA Finals, because Boston is done with their series and they're resting. So they came out, they did exactly what I expected them to do, and they won this game. They're going to have 6 or 7 days off before the NBA Finals. The NBA Finals starts on June 6th. So that's enough time to rest Luka, who's dealing with that knee injury, rest Derek Lively, who is dealing with neck spasms or neck strains or neck sprains, whatever that is, and everybody else as well. Now, I want to say this. I want to say two things about Minnesota that I forgot to say. So shout out to Anthony Edwards. Shout out to Karl Anthony Towns. They showed up in this game right here, but it was a little too late, and nothing they could have possibly done would have countered what Dallas was doing, because Luka Doncic came out and he was a different animal. He was a different beast, and Kyrie Irving also closed it out with his contributions as well. But shout out to Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. 28 points apiece, but it was just not enough. So shout out to them. But once again, congratulations to the Dallas Mavericks for such a good playoff run. Nobody picked the Dallas Mavericks to get to the finals. I mean, at least not me. I mean, I thought they was going to lose in the first round, but they proved me wrong. They got into the second round. They proved me wrong again, and then I picked them in the conference finals. And in my opinion, I think they're exceeding expectations. So shout out to them. We're definitely going to break down this game right here and the defensive coverages that Minnesota decided to go with. Luka Doncic completely destroyed them in the when it was going on the screens, and that's one thing you don't do to one of the best offensive players in this game, one of the best scorers in the game. You don't go on the screens, because they could definitely make you pay, and Luka made them pay. But we're gonna break down the game in a later video. But shout out to anybody that keeps supporting me. Shout out to anybody that keeps listening to my videos. We have a lot of content on the way. I'm going to be collabing with a few other content creators for other teams. So be on the look for that. And we'll definitely cover the NBA Finals as well. Shout out to anybody that keeps supporting me. This is DFJ Hoops. If you enjoy these videos, please make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. And also don't forget to hit the bell notification icon to notify you every time a video is released on this channel. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.